Look in the mirror, not the mirror that flatters you, the one that shows you truth, the tired eyes, the hidden anger, the wasted potential. You know what I'm talking about. You've been giving too much, expecting loyalty from the disloyal, respect from the disrespectful. But here's the cold truth. Value is not declared, it's demonstrated. The moment you truly value yourself, the world shifts, not because it suddenly loves you, but because it fears losing you. You become scarce, selective, strategic, and that's when the parasites, the pretenders, the manipulators vanish. This is not kindness, it's control. Comment below. I move like power, not approval. You're about to learn how to build value so strong, it bends others to your gravity. Welcome to Machiavellian mode. Number 1, the law of self-valuation. When you finally learn to value yourself, the world starts negotiating differently with you. Power recognizes power. Weakness invites wolves. You've been taught to seek approval, but approval is the currency of the powerless. The man who needs validation is already conquered because his worth depends on external permission. True self-value is not arrogance, it's precision. It's the cold awareness of what you bring to the table and the ruthless decision to never sit where it's not respected. A man who values himself moves differently, slower, quieter, sharper. He speaks less, observes more, and acts only when his advantage is certain. The Machiavellian mind understands this truth. People respect what they can't easily influence. When your emotions are controlled, your value multiplies. When you detach from need, you become unpredictable. And in power dynamics, unpredictability is lethal. Comment below, my silence is my weapon. Every time you choose self-value over validation, you harden your frame. Every time you walk away from disrespect, you teach the world your price. Remember, kings don't chase attention. They command it by existence. The moment you stop asking, you start attracting. The world doesn't give you what you deserve. It mirrors what you demand through your standards. Number 2, the currency of power. Power is not given, it's recognized. And recognition only happens when your value is undeniable, when your presence forces recalibration in every room you enter. The Machiavellian mind knows this. Emotion is a liability. Perception is an asset. Most men chase status symbols, titles, cars, validation. But the true currency of power is self-control. It's the ability to choose silence when ego screams for attention, to walk away when your pride demands a fight, to act as if nothing can shake you even when everything tries to. The man who controls his impulses becomes untouchable because nothing external governs his internal world. People test you constantly through disrespect, through doubt, through delay. They want to see if your composure cracks. Don't let it. Every reaction costs energy, and energy is the raw material of dominance. When you stop reacting, you start directing. When you become selective with your energy, you force others to play your tempo. This is what Machiavelli meant when he said, "It's better to be feared than loved," because fear keeps people predictable, and predictability gives you leverage. So build that aura of cold certainty, that quiet intensity that says, "I know my worth. I don't need your agreement." Comment below, my energy is my empire. In a world where attention is the cheapest drug, discipline is the rarest wealth. Withdraw your energy from the unworthy and you'll notice something strange. They start chasing what they can no longer control. That's the paradox of value. The less accessible you become, the more desirable you appear. Protect your time, your focus, your peace as sacred ground. When you treat your presence like a privilege, the world responds accordingly. Remember this truth: real power doesn't announce itself, it radiates. Number 3, detachment, the weapon of kings. Detachment is not apathy, it's strategy. The man who masters detachment controls every battlefield because his emotions are never used against him. Most people are puppets pulled by invisible strings: approval, rejection, fear, desire. But when you detach, those strings snap. You no longer chase outcomes, you control your input and let the world react. The Machiavellian understands that attachment is weakness disguised as passion. When You want something too badly, you become predictable. And predictability is death in the game of power. The stoic warrior walks through chaos like a ghost, aware, composed, untouchable. Detachment isn't coldness. It's the clarity that allows you to see without distortion. The more you detach, the more dangerous you become, because nothing can manipulate you through hope or fear. People will try to provoke you, guilt you, seduce you back into emotional slavery. Smile at their attempts and stay still. Stillness is a form of dominance. The moment they realize they can't move you, they start orbiting your gravity. Detachment gives birth to focus, and focus breeds empire. Comment below. I master emotions. They don't master me. Understand this. When you are no longer desperate for connection, approval, or validation, you become the rarest entity in existence. Free and freedom terrifies the controlled. They will call you cold, heartless, distant. But those are just the words of the powerless describing what they can't manipulate. Every empire was built by men who could sacrifice comfort for control. You must do the same. Cut the noise, silence the distractions, and let your calm become your intimidation. In a world where everyone is ruled by impulse, the man who is unmoved becomes myth. Detachment doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you efficient. It means every action is chosen, never reactive. Every word is deliberate, every move premeditated. This is how kings think. This is how legends are made. Number 4. The art of controlled intimidation. Intimidation is not about raising your voice. It's about lowering your energy to a frequency that makes others uncertain. True power doesn't need to announce itself. It makes people hesitate before speaking, rethink before acting, and adjust their tone in your presence. Controlled intimidation is a psychological art form. It's a weapon of precision used by those who understand that silence and composure create more fear than aggression ever could. The Machiavellian mind knows that perception shapes reality, and when you can shape perception, you control behavior. You must learn to weaponize subtlety, the steady gaze that doesn't flinch, the calm tone that carries weight, the still posture that communicates dominance without effort. Every move you make should whisper, "I know more than I'm saying." When others can't read you, they start to project their fears onto you, and that's how you manipulate without speaking. You must eliminate nervous habits, emotional outbursts, or desperate gestures, because these are leaks in your armor. The man of power is deliberate. He never explains too much, never seeks reassurance, never fills silence. Instead, he uses silence as a mirror, forcing others to reveal themselves. Comment below. My silence commands the room. Understand that. Intimidation is not cruelty. It's structure. It establishes boundaries so that only the worthy approach. When people sense you are not easily impressed, they begin to treat your attention as a privilege. That's the essence of dominance in social dynamics. You teach others how to behave simply by existing with standards. The Machiavellian principle applies. Appear approachable but remain unpredictable. Offer warmth strategically but withdraw it instantly. When respect falters, let people feel the contrast. It conditions them to value your presence. Intimidation works because it triggers an ancient human instinct, respect for the unknown. The more unreadable you are, the more others assume strength. Don't waste energy proving power. Demonstrate it through restraint. Remember, lions don't roar too. Prove dominance. They look once and the jungle goes silent. When your confidence is quiet and your discipline loud, you stop being a man among men. You become a force among followers. Control your aura, and the world will bend around your certainty. Number 5. Emotional control. The core of cold power. Emotional control is not about feeling nothing. It's about mastering everything. The world is built to provoke you, to test the cracks in your composure, to see how easily you can be pulled off balance. Every insult, every rejection, every delay is a test of your self-command. The Machiavellian doesn't react impulsively because he understands a deeper truth. Emotions are tools, not masters. He feels everything but displays nothing. His calmness is not emptiness, it's containment. Power lies in the pause between stimulus and response. That pause is where your mind decides whether to self-destruct or dominate. When you control that space, you control outcomes. Emotional control isn't passive, it's active warfare against your lower instincts. Every time you choose composure over chaos, you ascend a level higher in the hierarchy of men. When anger arises, channel it into discipline. When fear whispers, answer it with logic. When sadness tries to slow you, use it as fuel for clarity. The weak seek comfort in emotional expression. The strong find freedom in restraint. Comment below, I feel deeply, but I act strategically. Understand that power demands a poker face. People will poke, provoke, and prod, hoping to see your mask crack. Never let them. The one who remains calm when others panic becomes the axis around which everything revolves. This is why Stoicism was admired by emperors. It's the ability to suffer without complaint, to win without celebration, to lose without collapse. Emotional control makes you immune to manipulation because manipulators rely on reaction. If you don't react, they lose their grip. Control your tone, your posture, your breath, your eyes, because each one broadcasts your internal state. When you master expression, you master perception. And perception is reality in the theater of power. The Machiavellian uses empathy like a scalpel, not a shield. He understands emotions to dissect others, not to drown in them. This is the paradox of cold power. The more you understand emotion, the less it can control you. People often mistake control for suppression, but true control is awareness without surrender. You acknowledge emotion, analyze it, and decide if it serves your agenda. If it doesn't, you discard it like a useless tool. When you move with that level of discipline, you become an emotional fortress, impenetrable, unreadable, unbreakable. The world worships calm under pressure because it's so rare. The man who doesn't flinch when life strikes earns respect without words. Every storm becomes background noise. Every insult becomes irrelevant data. Every betrayal becomes instruction. Remember, control is not about coldness, it's about precision. You don't destroy emotion, you refine it into strength. When your emotions serve your strategy instead of sabotaging it, you've crossed the threshold from ordinary to formidable. That is the core of cold power and the essence of true value. Number 6. Strategic isolation, the forging of power. Isolation is not loneliness, it is refinement. It is the crucible where ordinary men dissolve and powerful men are forged. The weak crave constant noise, validation, and companionship because silence terrifies them. It forces them to face the raw truth of who they are without distraction. But the Machiavellian embraces isolation like a weapon because he understands that solitude sharpens awareness, amplifies focus, and strips away illusion. And isolation, you hear your own mind clearly for the first time. And that's when you realize how much of your life has been dictated by noise, by expectation, by invisible manipulation. The man who can stand alone is the man no one can command. Strategic isolation is not about cutting everyone off. It's about cutting off dependency. You begin to interact by choice, not by need. You learn to build internally before you engage externally. When you value your solitude, others start valuing your presence because scarcity creates demand. Comment below. My solitude breeds strength. Every empire begins in isolation. Every plan, every idea, every revolution. The moments you spend alone are your laboratory of power, where emotion turns into logic and pain becomes precision. People think connection equals strength, but true strength is self-sufficiency. It's the ability to withdraw into your own mind, rebuild your strategy, and re-emerge 10 times sharper. The world rewards those who can detach without collapsing. When you become comfortable in your own silence, no rejection can destabilize you. No betrayal can surprise you, and no loss can define you because you've already learned how to rebuild from nothing. That's the Machiavellian paradox. When you no longer need the world starts needing you. Isolation is where you audit your circle, your habits, and your purpose. It's where you realize how much energy you've wasted on people who drain your focus and offer nothing in return. Cut them. Replace noise with clarity, gossip with reading, distraction with planning. Every hour in. Isolation is an investment in your dominance. Most people fear being alone because it reveals their emptiness. Powerful men crave it because it exposes their potential. In solitude, you see your weaknesses without ego, and that awareness is what breeds control. You start seeing relationships as alliances, emotions as signals, and life as a chessboard. You stop moving impulsively and start moving intentionally. Machiavelli himself withdrew often from public life, not out of defeat, but to sharpen his understanding of human behavior. He knew that the mind cannot command if it is constantly reacting. You must treat your isolation as sacred. Wake early, think deeply, plan meticulously. Refuse to let the world's chaos leak into your mental fortress. When you are alone, train your mind like a soldier. Discipline your thoughts, track your progress, and visualize outcomes. You are not escaping the world. You are preparing to dominate it. The man who isolates strategically is feared because he cannot be tracked. No, one knows what he's thinking, building, or planning, and that mystery is magnetic. People respect the one they can't fully understand. That's why every great strategist, every emperor, every conqueror had seasons of silence before storms of victory. You must do the same. Withdraw with intent. Let absence build intrigue. Let silence build weight. The more you retreat to sharpen, the more devastating your return. Comment below. My silence builds empires. Understand this. Solitude doesn't make you antisocial. It makes you anti-frivolous. You stop wasting words, energy, and emotion on things that don't multiply your purpose. You become economical with your presence, deliberate with your time. People will call you distant, cold, or mysterious. Let them. Every accusation of detachment is an acknowledgement of their dependency. They depend on chaos. You depend on control. They chase stimulation. You chase strength. The man who is never alone is never in control because he's always being programmed by the crowd. Strategic isolation is how you uninstall the lies of society and reinstall your true nature, disciplined, focused, and ruthless. When you can spend days alone without losing momentum, you've achieved what few ever will: internal sovereignty. From that point forward, you no longer move for attention. You move for impact. You no longer chase belonging. You build legacy. Solitude is the territory of kings and the deathbed of weakness, protected with your life. Every second alone is an edge. Every silence a strategy. Every breath in solitude, a declaration of self-mastery. When you return from isolation, the world won't recognize you. And that's exactly how it should be. Number 7. The power of selective ruthlessness. Ruthlessness is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's the ability to act with precision when emotion would cloud judgment. The world likes to romanticize mercy and kindness. But power is built by those who know when to cut, when to strike, and when to walk away without looking back. The Machiavellian mind understands that mercy without strategy is weakness, and forgiveness without boundaries is self-betrayal. Selective ruthlessness means knowing when to be kind for advantage and when to be cold for preservation. It's not about hurting others. It's about refusing to let sentiment sabotage your success. In the hierarchy of power, hesitation is death. You must learn to eliminate indecision. Like a disease, every moment you spend debating whether to enforce your standards, someone else is exploiting your delay. Comment below. My boundaries are carved in stone. The ruthless man doesn't seek destruction. He seeks control. He uses power efficiently, not emotionally. He rewards loyalty but never tolerates disrespect. He gives chances but never second ones, because repetition of betrayal is not compassion, it's stupidity. Machiavelli taught that men should either be treated generously or destroyed completely, because partial punishment invites revenge. Understand this principle. When you must act decisively. Half measures create enemies. Final decisions. Eliminate them. Selective ruthlessness is what separates leaders from followers, kings from servants. It means you are willing to do what others hesitate to do, not out of malice, but out of necessity. You remove what weakens you, people, habits, distractions. Without apology, you become your own executioner, cutting away comfort in the name of growth. The world belongs to those who can detach from guilt long enough to do what must be done. Weak men drown in empathy for those who would never save them. Strong men channel empathy into strategy, using it to understand others, not to enslave themselves to emotional obligation. When you enforce consequences, the world takes you seriously. When you let everything slide, the world treats you like background noise. Comment below. I move with purpose, not permission. Ruthlessness is misunderstood because society glorifies submission. They tell you to be endlessly patient, endlessly forgiving, endlessly understanding. But endless understanding leads to endless exploitation. The moment you set a line and enforce it with calm authority, you transform from disposable to dangerous. People may not like you, but they'll respect you, and respect is worth more than popularity. The Machiavellian doesn't chase being liked, he commands being obeyed. This doesn't mean becoming cruel, it means refusing to be manipulated. Ruthlessness is a form of self-respect that says, I will not sacrifice my purpose for your comfort. When you master selective ruthlessness, you stop fearing confrontation. You understand that peace without power is an illusion. You can't be calm in a world that's ready to consume you. You must be calm and capable of violence. This balance, composed yet formidable, is what defines true authority. You don't raise your voice, you raise your standards. You don't seek revenge, you remove access. You don't argue, you disappear. Every time you enforce your worth, your aura hardens. Every time you refuse to be guilt-tripped, your dominance deepens. Ruthlessness is not a personality, it's armor. It protects your energy from parasites and your vision from dilution. Remember, wolves do not apologize for hunting. They simply hunt efficiently. Be the same, measured, intentional, untamed. When you master selective ruthlessness, you become a strategist, not a savage. You don't waste time on proving superiority. You execute silently. Your enemies collapse, not because you fought harder, but because you fought smarter. Control doesn't come from aggression, it comes from precision. Comment below. I strike with intention, not emotion. Never forget, Machiavelli wrote that men must be either crushed or courted. You must learn who deserves your loyalty and who deserves your indifference. Ruthlessness is the ability to choose wisely without hesitation. Once you make a choice, stand by it with unshakable resolve. Every decision defines your gravity. Every boundary reinforces your legend. To lead, you must be feared for your discipline and admired for your results. Those who misunderstand your ruthlessness are the same ones who once benefited from your softness. Let them talk, let them fall away. The path to supremacy demands a sharp blade and a steady hand. Mercy, when used selectively, becomes a gift. When used blindly, becomes your undoing. In AI, world of indulgence and weakness, ruthlessness is elegance. It is the art of survival refined into the science of dominance. Number 8, the discipline of psychological distance. Psychological distance is the armor of the powerful. It is the invisible shield that keeps your mind untouchable while the world around you burns with emotion, chaos, and manipulation. Most people live too close to everything. They react to every insult, every opinion, every inconvenience. They drown in proximity, suffocating under the weight of others' expectations. But the Machiavellian learns early control is not about domination of others. It's about dominion over yourself. Psychological distance is the art of being present without being entangled, engaged but not enslaved. You watch, you listen, but you never absorb unnecessary noise. When someone insults, you don't internalize it, you dissect it. When betrayal comes, you don't collapse, you calculate. Emotional detachment allows you to operate with logic in a world drunk on feelings. Comment below. My mind is my fortress. This mindset turns you into a strategist rather than a survivor. You stop interpreting events as personal attacks and start seeing them as data points. Everything becomes information: who to trust, who to cut, where to position yourself next. You no longer react for approval. You act for advantage. The more distance you create, the more control you gain. Because when you are too close to the game, your emotions blur the strategy. Step back and the board becomes visible. That's where power lives in perspective. The man with distance sees what others overlook. He spots manipulation before it strikes. He predicts moves before they unfold. This is how generals win wars without fighting every battle. In psychological distance lies patience, and in patience lies inevitability. The untrained mind confuses stillness with weakness, but in truth, stillness is a weapon. The calmer you are, the more chaotic your enemies become. The less you reveal, the more they expose. Psychological distance transforms confrontation into control. You stop being a player. You become the designer of the game. Machiavelli wrote that men must be handled either through fear or dependence. Distance breeds both. When you withdraw your emotional accessibility, people begin to crave your reaction. They interpret your silence as depth, your calm as confidence, your lack of urgency as superiority. Comment below, I move above. Emotion not within it. To master this, you must train yourself daily to resist the gravitational pull of emotional noise. Stop chasing closure. Stop arguing for validation. Stop trying to prove your point to the blind. Learn to let people think they've won if it preserves your focus. Psychological distance is not detachment from humanity. It's elevation above triviality. You give your loyalty to purpose, not people. Your attention to progress, not drama. Those who lack discipline will call you cold, but that's because your serenity exposes their instability. Your distance forces them to confront their chaos. They'll either level up to reach you or fall away trying. Either outcome serves you. Remember, emotion is expensive. Spend it only where return is guaranteed. The world's greatest manipulators succeed because they make others feel too much. They keep their targets close, emotionally entangled, reactive. But once you master distance, their power dissolves. You become unreadable, unpredictable, ungovernable. The truly powerful can sit in a storm without blinking because storms are temporary and vision is eternal. Distance allows you to see beyond the noise, beyond the moment, beyond ego. It transforms every setback into strategy, every rejection into redirection, every wound into wisdom. Never explain your calm, let them wonder. Never rush to defend, let your results speak. The man who masters psychological distance doesn't need to manipulate, he magnetizes. His composure becomes command, his silence becomes strategy, his absence becomes dominance. Remember, proximity creates vulnerability, distance creates control. Guard your mind like a fortress, let only the worthy enter. Comment below, I am close to nothing and nothing controls me. Number 9, the aura of inevitability. The greatest power a man can possess is not wealth, status, or brute strength. It is inevitability, the sense that no matter what stands in his way, his rise cannot be stopped. This aura doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from consistency, discipline, and relentless self-belief forged through silent struggle. The Machiavellian doesn't beg for destiny. He engineers it. He moves like a man chosen by inevitability itself. His energy communicates one message: I will win. If not now, then eventually. The aura of inevitability intimidates without aggression, influences without persuasion, and attracts without pursuit. When people sense inevitability in you, they start aligning with your direction. Allies appear, opportunities multiply. Enemies retreat, not because they fear your words, but because they sense the futility of resistance. Comment below, my rise is inevitable. This aura is built in the darkness of repetition where others quit. It's born from the mornings you rise when you don't want to, the nights you work while the world sleeps. the sacrifices no one applauds. Every small victory compounds silently until momentum turns into magnetism. You stop needing to convince others because your consistency becomes evidence. Machiavelli understood that fortune favors the man who acts as though his victory is ordained. People follow confidence, but they worship certainty. The aura of inevitability turns uncertainty into prophecy. To cultivate it, eliminate hesitation from your movements. Move with conviction, even in confusion. Never let your tone betray doubt, your posture reveal weakness, or your eyes display fear. Doubt may visit your mind, but never let it find a home in your demeanor. You must speak with precision, act with discipline, and carry yourself like a storm walking calmly toward conquest. The aura of inevitability demands that you stop explaining your plan. Execution is explanation enough. Let silence do your marketing and results do your talking. Comment below, I execute, therefore I ascend. The inevitable man is calm because he already knows the ending. He's not racing, he's unfolding. While others chase validation, he chases legacy. He understands that the game of power rewards endurance over excitement. People will test you, mock you, doubt you, but each act of resistance only adds to your legend when you refuse to break. The more pressure you endure without collapse, the more unshakable your aura becomes. Eventually, your name starts moving before you do. Rooms quiet when you enter because your reputation has already spoken. You don't demand respect. It pre-exists you. The aura of inevitability is built on a foundation of delayed gratification, self-discipline, and emotional control. It requires you to embrace solitude, withstand ridicule, and reject shortcuts. Most will never build it because they crave applause too early. But those who do become unstoppable forces, unhurried, unbothered, undeterred. The world bends to the man who refuses to yield. When you carry this aura, even failure serves you. Setbacks become setups, delays become training, losses become leverage. You stop fearing time because you've mastered it through patience and purpose. Inevitability means the game was over before it began. You were simply waiting for everyone else to realize it. So move like it, speak like it, live like it. Comment below, I move as if I've already won. Number 10, becoming untouchable. To become untouchable is to evolve beyond external validation, emotional volatility, and societal programming. It's not about building walls. It's about building standards so high that only excellence can enter your world. The Machiavellian knows that untouchability begins in the mind long before it manifests in the world. It is the art of moving through chaos without losing center, of standing among noise and remaining unaffected. When you are untouchable, nothing can be used against you. Neither praise nor insult, loss nor temptation. You become your own source of validation, your own weapon, your own protection. The untouchable man is not arrogant. He is self-contained. He does not depend on luck. He manufactures opportunity. He does not chase loyalty. He inspires it through presence. Comment below, I am the calm in every storm. To reach this level, you must master the 4 pillars of cold power: detachment, control, precision, and silence. Detachment keeps you emotionally neutral. Control ensures your reactions remain strategic. Precision eliminates waste of time, words, and energy. Silence preserves mystery, and mystery commands respect. The untouchable man understands that exposure breeds vulnerability, so he reveals little and acts only with intent. He's unpredictable, not because he's chaotic, but because he's disciplined enough to never move. Emotionally, the more you control access to your mind, your time, and your emotions, the less the world can manipulate you. Every attack becomes irrelevant, every distraction powerless. This is why the powerful often seem distant. They've outgrown trivial conflict. They live above it. Untouchable doesn't mean unreachable. It means unfazed. When you reach this level, people study your composure to find their own. They imitate your stillness, admire your restraint, and fear your indifference. you become the reference point for strength. The Machiavellian principle here is simple. When you depend on nothing, you lose nothing. When you fear nothing, you control everything. Comment below. My mind bows to no one. Being untouchable is not about escaping humanity. It's about mastering it. Pain still comes, but it no longer defines you. Challenges still arrive, but they no longer break. You stop chasing outcomes and start commanding results. You move through life like a force of nature, quiet, calculated, unstoppable. The world bends to consistency, and the untouchable man is consistent beyond measure. Remember, those who cannot be controlled cannot be destroyed. That is the final evolution of power. So value yourself relentlessly. Act with strategy and move with calm ferocity. You are not just surviving. You are sculpting destiny with deliberate precision. Comment below, I am untouchable. And if this spoke to your inner ruler, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because your rise has only just begun. Welcome permanently to Machiavellian.